This video is for educational purposes. This is the continuation of the preceding Tel Aviv city video analysis. This is the part 2 of the foregoing. In 1998, Tel Aviv was on the verge of bankruptcy. Economic difficulties would then be compounded by a wave of Palestinian suicide bombings in the city from the mid-1990s to the end of the Second Intifada, as well as the dot-com bubble, which affected the city's rapidly growing high-tech sector. On November 4, 1995, Israel's Prime Minister, Yitzhak Rabin, was assassinated at a rally in Tel Aviv in support of the Oslo Peace Accord. The outdoor plaza where this occurred, formerly known as Kikar Malchi Yisrael, was renamed Rabin Square. Kindly subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends and families. In the Gulf War in 1991, Tel Aviv was attacked by Scud missiles from Iraq. Iraq hoped to provoke an Israeli military response, which could have destroyed the U.S.-Arab alliance. The United States pressured Israel not to retaliate, and after Israel acquiesced, the U.S. and Netherlands rushed Patriot missiles to defend against the attacks, but they proved largely ineffective. Tel Aviv and other Israeli cities continued to be hit by Scuds throughout the war, and every city in the Tel Aviv area except for Bnei Brak was hit. A total of 74 Israelis died as a result of the Iraqi attacks, mostly from suffocation and heart attacks, while approximately 230 Israelis were injured. Extensive property damage was also caused, and some 4,000 Israelis were left homeless. It was feared that Iraq would fire missiles filled with nerve agents or sarin. As a result, the Israeli government issued gas masks to its citizens. When the first Iraqi missiles hit Israel, some people injected themselves with an antidote for nerve gas. The inhabitants of the southeastern suburb of Hatikva erected an angel monument as a sign of their gratitude that it was through a great miracle that many people were preserved from being killed by a direct hit of a Scud rocket. Since the First Intifada, Tel Aviv has suffered from Palestinian political violence. The first suicide attack in Tel Aviv occurred on October 19, 1994, on the Line 5 bus, when a bomber killed 22 civilians and injured 50 as part of a Hamas suicide campaign. On March 6, 1996, another Hamas suicide bomber killed 13 people, 12 civilians and 1 soldier, many of them children, in the Dizengoff Center suicide bombing. 3 women were killed by a Hamas terrorist in the Café Apropos bombing on March 27, 1997. One of the deadliest attacks occurred on June 1, 2001, during the Second Intifada, when a suicide bomber exploded at the entrance to the Dolphinarium discotheque, killing 21, mostly teenagers, and injuring 132. Another Hamas suicide bomber killed 6 civilians and injured 70, in the Allenby Street bus bombing. 23 civilians were killed and over 100 injured in the Tel Aviv Central bus station massacre. Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades claimed responsibility for the attack. In the Mike's Place suicide bombing, an attack on a bar by a British Muslim suicide bomber resulted in the deaths of 3 civilians and wounded over 50. Hamas and Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades claimed joint responsibility. An Islamic Jihad bomber killed 5 and wounded over 50 on February 25, 2005 Stage Club bombing. The most recent suicide attack in the city occurred on April 17, 2006, when 11 people were killed and at least 70 wounded in a suicide bombing near the old Central bus station. Another attack took place on August 29, 2011 in which a Palestinian attacker stole an Israeli taxi cab and rammed it into a police checkpoint guarding the popular Haman 17 nightclub in Tel Aviv, which was filled with 2,000 Israeli teenagers. After crashing, the assailant went on a stabbing spree, injuring 8 people. Due to an Israel border police roadblock at the entrance and immediate response of the border police team during the subsequent stabbings, a much larger and fatal mass casualty incident was avoided. On November 21, 2012, during Operation Pillar of Defense, the Tel Aviv area was targeted by rockets, and air raid sirens were sounded in the city for the first time since the Gulf War. All of the rockets either missed populated areas or were shot down by an Iron Dome rocket defense battery stationed near the city. During the operation, a bomb blast on a bus wounded at least 28 civilians, 3 seriously. This was described as a terrorist attack by Israel, Russia, and the United States and was condemned by the United Nations, United States, United Kingdom, France and Russia, whilst Hamas spokesman Sami Abu Zuri declared that the organization blesses the attack. More than 300 rockets were fired towards the Tel Aviv metropolitan area in the 2021 Israel-Palestine crisis. New laws were introduced to protect modernist buildings, and efforts to preserve them were aided by UNESCO recognition of Tel Aviv's White City as a World Heritage Site in 2003. In the early 2000s, Tel Aviv municipality focused on attracting more young residents to the city. It made significant investment in major boulevards to create attractive pedestrian corridors. Former industrial areas like the city's previously derelict northern Tel Aviv port and the Jaffa railway station were upgraded and transformed into leisure areas. A process of gentrification began in some of the poor neighborhoods of southern Tel Aviv, and many older buildings began to be renovated. The demographic profile of the city changed in the 2000s as it began to attract a higher proportion of young residents. By 2012, 28% of the city's population was aged between 20 and 34 years old. Between 2007 and 2012, the city's population growth averaged 6.29%. As a result of its population recovery and industrial transition, the city's finances were transformed, and by 2012 it was running a budget surplus and maintained a credit rating of AAA+. In the 2000s and early 2010s, Tel Aviv received tens of thousands of illegal immigrants, primarily from Sudan and Eritrea, changing the demographic profile of areas of the city. In 2009, Tel Aviv celebrated its official centennial. In addition to city and countrywide celebrations, digital collections of historical materials were assembled. These include the history section of the official Tel Aviv Yafo Centennial Year website, the Ahuzat Bayat collection, which focuses on the founding families of Tel Aviv and includes photographs and biographies, and Stanford University's Eliasaph Robinson Tel Aviv collection, documenting the history of the city. Today, the city is regarded as a strong candidate for global city status. Over the past 60 years, Tel Aviv had developed into a secular, liberal-minded center with a vibrant nightlife and cafe culture. Tel Aviv is located around 32 degrees 5 minutes north, 34 degrees 48 minutes east on the Israeli Mediterranean coastline, in central Israel, the historic land bridge between Europe, Asia, and Africa. Immediately north of the ancient port of Jaffa, Tel Aviv lies on land that used to be sand dunes and as such has relatively poor soil fertility. The land has been flattened and has no important gradients. Its most notable geographical features are bluffs above the Mediterranean coastline and the Yarkon River mouth. Because of the expansion of Tel Aviv and the Gush Dan region, absolute borders between Tel Aviv and Jaffa and between the city's neighborhoods do not exist. The city is located 60 kilometers, 37 miles northwest of Jerusalem and 90 kilometers, 56 miles south of the city of Haifa. Neighboring cities and towns include Herzliya to the north, Ramat HaSharon to the northeast, Petah Tikva, Bnei Brak, Ramat Gan and Givatayim to the east, Holon to the southeast, and Bat Yam to the south. The city is economically stratified between the north and south. Southern Tel Aviv is considered less affluent than northern Tel Aviv with the exception of Neve Tzedek and northern and northwestern Jaffa. Central Tel Aviv is home to Azrieli Center and the important financial and commerce district along Ayalon Highway. The northern side of Tel Aviv is home to Tel Aviv University, Hayarkin Park, and upscale residential neighborhoods such as Ramat Aviv and Afika. Tel Aviv is ranked as the greenest city in Israel. Since 2008, city lights are turned off annually in support of Earth Hour. In February 2009, the municipality launched a water-saving campaign, including competition granting free parking for a year to the household that is found to have consumed the least water per person. In the early 21st century, Tel Aviv's municipality transformed a derelict power station into a public park, now named Gan HaHashmal, Electricity Park, paving the way for eco-friendly and environmentally conscious designs. In October 2008, Martin Whale turned an old garbage dump near Ben Gurion International Airport, called Hiriya, into an attraction by building an ark of plastic bottles. The site, which was renamed Ariel Sharon Park to honor Israel's former prime minister, will serve as the centerpiece in what is to become a 2,000-acre, 8.1 square kilometers, urban wilderness on the outskirts of Tel Aviv, designed by German landscape architect Peter Latz. At the end of the 20th century, the city began restoring historical neighborhoods such as Neve Tzedek and many buildings from the 1920s and 1930s. Since 2007, the city hosts its well-known, annual open house Tel Aviv Weekend, which offers the general public free entrance to the city's famous landmarks, private houses, and public buildings. In 2010, the design of the renovated Tel Aviv port, Nemel Tel Aviv, won the award for Outstanding Landscape Architecture at the European Biennial for Landscape Architecture in Barcelona. In 2014, the Sarona Market Complex opened, following an 8-year renovation project of Sarona Colony. Summers in Tel Aviv last about 5 months, from June to October. August, the warmest month, averages a high of 30.6 degrees Celsius 87.1 degrees Fahrenheit, and a low of 25 degrees Celsius 77 degrees Fahrenheit. The high relative humidity due to the location of the city by the Mediterranean Sea, in a combination with the high temperatures, creates a thermal discomfort during the summer. Summer low temperatures in Tel Aviv seldom drop below 20 degrees Celsius (68 degrees Fahrenheit). Winters are mild and wet, with most of the annual precipitation falling within the months of December, January and February as intense rainfall and thunderstorms. In January, the coolest month, the average maximum temperature is 17.6 degrees Celsius (63.7 degrees Fahrenheit), the minimum temperature averages 10.2 degrees Celsius (50.4 degrees Fahrenheit). During the coldest days of winter, temperatures may vary between 8 degrees Celsius (46 degrees Fahrenheit) and 12 degrees Celsius (54 degrees Fahrenheit). Both freezing temperatures and snowfall are extremely rare in the city. Autumns and springs are characterized by sharp temperature changes, with heat waves that might be created due to hot and dry air masses that arrive from the nearby deserts. During heat waves in autumn and springs, temperatures usually climb up to 35 degrees Celsius (95 degrees Fahrenheit) and even up to 40 degrees Celsius (104 degrees Fahrenheit), accompanied with exceptionally low humidity. An average day during autumn and spring has a high of 23 degrees Celsius (73 degrees Fahrenheit) to 25 degrees Celsius (77 degrees Fahrenheit), and a low of 15 degrees Celsius (59 degrees Fahrenheit) to 18 degrees Celsius (64 degrees Fahrenheit). The highest recorded temperature in Tel Aviv was 46.5 degrees Celsius (115.7 degrees Fahrenheit) on May 17, 1916. And the lowest is -1.9 degrees Celsius (28.6 degrees Fahrenheit) on February 7, 1950, during a cold wave that brought the only recorded snowfall in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is governed by a 31-member city council elected for a 5-year term by indirect proportional elections, and a mayor elected for the same term by direct elections under a 2-round system. Like all other mayors in Israel, no term limits exist for the mayor of Tel Aviv. All Israeli citizens over the age of 17 with at least 1 year of residence in Tel Aviv are eligible to vote in municipal elections. The municipality is responsible for social services, community programs, public infrastructure, urban planning, tourism and other local affairs. The Tel Aviv City Hall is located at Rabin Square. Ron Huldai has been mayor of Tel Aviv since 1998. Huldai was re-elected for a 5th term in the 2018 municipal elections, defeating former Deputy Asaf Zamir, founder of the Ha'ir party. Huldai has become the longest-serving mayor of the city, exceeding Shlomo Lahas' 19-year term. The shortest-serving was David Bloch, in office for 2 years, 1925 to 27. Politically, Tel Aviv is known to be a stronghold for the left, in both local and national issues. The left-wing vote is especially prevalent in the city's mostly affluent central and northern neighborhoods, though not the case for its working-class southeastern neighborhoods which tend to vote for right-wing parties in national elections. Outside the kibbutzim, Meretz receives more votes in Tel Aviv than in any other city in Israel. Tel Aviv has a population of 467,875 spread over a land area of 52,000 dunams, 52 square kilometers, 20 square miles, yielding a population density of 7,606 people per square km, 19,699 per square mile. According to the Israel Central Bureau of Statistics, CBS, as of 2009 Tel Aviv's population is growing at an annual rate of 0.5%. Jews of all backgrounds form 91.8% of the population, Muslims and Arab Christians make up 4.2%, and the remainder belong to other groups, including various Christian and Asian communities. As Tel Aviv is a multicultural city, many languages are spoken in addition to Hebrew. According to some estimates, about 50,000 unregistered African and Asian foreign workers live in the city. Compared with westernized cities, crime in Tel Aviv is relatively low. According to Tel Aviv-Yafo municipality, the average income in the city, which has an unemployment rate of 4.6%, is 20% above the national average. The city's education standards are above the national average. Of its 12th grade students, 64.4% are eligible for matriculation certificates. The age profile is relatively even, with 22.2% aged under 20, 18.5% aged 20 to 29, 24% aged 30 to 44, 16.2% aged between 45 and 59, and 19.1% older than 60. Tel Aviv's population reached a peak in the early 1960s at around 390,000, falling to 317,000 in the late 1980s as high property prices forced families out and deterred young couples from moving in. Since the 1990s, population has steadily grown. Today, the city's population is young and growing. In 2006, 22,000 people moved to the city, while only 18,500 left, and many of the new families had young children. The population is expected to reach 535,000 in 2030. Meanwhile, the average age of residents fell from 35.8 in 1983 to 34 in 2008. The population over age 65 stands at 14.6% compared with 19% in 1983. Tel Aviv has 544 active synagogues, including historic buildings such as the Great Synagogue, established in the 1930s. In 2008, a center for secular Jewish studies and a secular yeshiva opened in the city. Tensions between religious and secular Jews before the 2006 Gay Pride Parade ended in vandalism of a synagogue. The number of churches has grown to accommodate the religious needs of diplomats and foreign workers. In 2019, the population was 89.9% Jewish and 4.5% Arabs. Among Arabs, 82.8% were Muslims, 16.4% were Christians, and 0.8% were Druze. The remaining 5% were not classified by religion. Israel Meir Lau is chief rabbi of the city. Tel Aviv is an ethnically diverse city. The Jewish population, which forms the majority group in Tel Aviv, consists of the descendants of immigrants from all parts of the world, including Ashkenazi Jews from Europe, North America, South America, Australia and South Africa, as well as Sephardic and Mizrahi Jews from Southern Europe, North Africa, India, Central Asia, West Asia, and the Arabian Peninsula. There are also a sizable number of Ethiopian Jews and their descendants living in Tel Aviv. In addition to Muslim and Arab Christian minorities in the city, several hundred Armenian Christians who reside in the city are concentrated mainly in Jaffa, and some Christians from the former Soviet Union who immigrated to Israel with Jewish spouses and relatives. In recent years, Tel Aviv has received many non-Jewish migrants from Asia and Africa, students, foreign workers, documented and undocumented, and refugees. There are many economic migrants and refugees from African countries, primarily Eritrea and Sudan, located in the southern part of the city. Tel Aviv is divided into 9 districts that have formed naturally over the city's short history. The oldest of these is Jaffa, the ancient port city out of which Tel Aviv grew. This area is traditionally made up demographically of a greater percentage of Arabs, but recent gentrification is replacing them with a young professional and artist population. Similar processes are occurring in nearby Neve Tzedek, the original Jewish neighborhood outside of Jaffa. Ramat Aviv, a district in the northern part of the city that is largely made up of luxury apartments and includes Tel Aviv University, is currently undergoing extensive expansion and is set to absorb the beachfront property of Sde Dov Airport after its decommissioning. The area known as Hakiria is the Israel Defense Forces (IDF) headquarters and a large military base. Moreover, in the past few years, Rothschild Boulevard, which is beginning in Neve Tzedek, has become an attraction for tourists, businesses and startups. It features a wide, tree-lined central strip with pedestrian and bike lanes. Historically, there was a demographic split between the Ashkenazi northern side of the city, including the district of Ramat Aviv, and the southern, more Sephardi and Mizrahi neighborhoods including Neve Tzedek and Florentine. Since the 1980s, major restoration and gentrification projects have been implemented in southern Tel Aviv. Baruch Yaskovitz, city planner for Tel Aviv beginning in 2001, reworked old British plans for the Florentine neighborhood from the 1920s, adding green areas, pedestrian malls, and housing. The municipality invested 2 million shekels in the project. The goal was to make Florentine the Soho of Tel Aviv and attract artists and young professionals to the neighborhood. Street artists such as Didi, installation artists such as Sigalit Landau, and many others made the upbeat neighborhood their home base. Florentine is now known as a hip, cool place to be in Tel Aviv with coffeehouses, markets, bars, galleries and parties. Tel Aviv is home to Tel Aviv Saurisky Medical Center, the third largest hospital complex in Israel. It contains Ichalov Hospital, the Ida Saurisky Rehabilitation Center, Lis Maternity and Women's Hospital, and Danadwek Children's Hospital. The city also contains Asyuta Medical Center, a private hospital which offers surgical and diagnostic services in all fields of medicine and has an IVF clinic. Kindly subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends and families. In the 1920s, Tel Aviv gradually became the center of art in Israel. In 1919, several prominent olim from Odessa arrived in the Ruslan ship. In 1920, some of these set up the Hatomer Art Cooperative as well as opened the first modern art exhibition in Israel. In the 1925, following the return of Isaac Frenkel from Paris and his opening of the Histadrut Art Studio, and the introduction of École de Paris influence, Tel Aviv grew to supplement Jerusalem in its cultural importance in the visual arts, especially in respect to modern art. In the late 1920s to 1940s, Tel Aviv painters were heavily influenced by the École de Paris, painting Tel Aviv's urban landscape, people and cafes in a manner influenced by Soutine, Passon, Fresnel, Chagall and others from the School of Paris. Tel Aviv's bohemian culture was characterized by cafes such as Casset, which attracted numerous writers and painters. Numerous exhibitions were held in the Oval Theater and the Herzliya Hebrew Gymnasium prior to the opening of museums. Reuben and Nahum Gutman also worked and painted in the city, painting in the naive style. Tel Aviv hosts the Tel Aviv Museum of Art, established in 1932 in Mayor Dizengoff's house, since having moved to a new larger location in 1971, as well as numerous galleries. Israel has the highest number of museums per capita of any country, with 3 of the largest located in Tel Aviv. Among these are the Eretz Israel Museum, known for its collection of archaeology and history exhibits dealing with the land of Israel, and the Tel Aviv Museum of Art. In 2023, the Tel Aviv Museum of Art was ranked 48th on the Art magazine's list of the 100 most popular museums in the world. Housed on the campus of Tel Aviv University is ANU, Museum of the Jewish People, a museum of the international Jewish diaspora that tells the story of Jewish prosperity and persecution throughout the centuries of exile. Beit Hatfutsot Museum specializes in Israel Defense Forces military history. The Palmach Museum near Tel Aviv University offers a multimedia experience of the history of the Palmach. Right next to Charles Clore Park is a museum of the Irgun. The Israel Trade Fairs and Convention Center, located in the northern part of the city, hosts more than 60 major events annually. Many offbeat museums and galleries operate in the southern areas, including the Tel Aviv Raw Art Contemporary Art Gallery. Tel Aviv is a major center of culture and entertainment. 18 of Israel's 35 major centers for the performing arts are located in the city, including 5 of the country's 9 large theaters, where 55% of all performances in the country and 75% of all attendance occurs. The Tel Aviv Performing Arts Center is home of the Israeli Opera, where Placido Domingo was house tenor between 1962 and 1965, and the Camry Theater. With 2,482 seats, the Heikel HaTarbut is the city's largest theater and home to the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. Habima Theater, Israel's national theater, was closed down for renovations in early 2008 and reopened in November 2011 after major remodeling. Inav Cultural Center is one of the newer additions to the cultural scene. Other theaters in Tel Aviv are the Gesher Theater and Beit Lesson Theater. Tzavta and Tmuna are smaller theaters that host musical performances and fringe productions. In Jaffa, the Simta and Natzer theaters specialize in fringe as well. Tel Aviv is home to the Batsheva Dance Company, a world-famous contemporary dance troupe. The Israeli Ballet is also based in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv Center for Modern and Classical Dance is the Suzanne Dellel Center for Dance and Theater in Neve Tzedek. The city often hosts international musicians at venues such as Hayarkin Park, Expo Tel Aviv, the Barbie Club, the Zappa Club and Live Park Rishon LeZion just south of Tel Aviv. The city hosted the Eurovision Song Contest 2019, the first Israeli-hosted Eurovision held outside of Jerusalem, following Israel's win the year prior. Opera and classical music performances are held daily in Tel Aviv, with many of the world's leading classical conductors and soloists performing on Tel Aviv stages over the years. The Tel Aviv Cinematheque screens art movies, premieres of short and full-length Israeli films, and hosts a variety of film festivals, among them the Festival of Animation, Comics and Caricatures, Icon, Science Fiction and Fantasy Festival, the Student Film Festival, the Jazz, Film and Videotape Festival and Salute to Israeli Cinema. The city has several multiplex cinemas. Tel Aviv is an international hub of highly active and diverse nightlife with bars, dance bars and nightclubs staying open well past midnight. The largest area for nightclubs is the Tel Aviv port, where the city's large, commercial clubs and bars draw big crowds of young clubbers from both Tel Aviv and neighboring cities. The south of Tel Aviv is known for the popular Haumon 17 Club, as well as for being the city's main hub of alternative clubbing, with underground venues including established clubs like the Block Club, Comfort 13 and Paradise Garage, as well as various warehouse and loft party venues. The Allenby Rothschild area is another popular nightlife hub, featuring such clubs as the Passaz, Radio EPGB, and the Penguin. In 2013, Absolut Vodka introduced a specially designed bottle dedicated to Tel Aviv as part of its International City series. Named the best gay city in the world by American Airlines, Tel Aviv is one of the most popular destinations for LGBT tourists internationally, with a large LGBT community. Approximately 25% of Tel Aviv's population identify as gay. American journalist David Kaufman has described the city as a place packed with the kind of "we're here, we're queer" vibe more typically found in Sydney and San Francisco. The city hosts its well-known Pride Parade, the biggest in Asia, attracting over 200,000 people yearly. In January 2008, Tel Aviv's municipality established the city's LGBT community center, providing all of the municipal and cultural services to the LGBT community under one roof. In December 2008, Tel Aviv began putting together a team of gay athletes for the 2009 World Out Games in Copenhagen. In addition, Tel Aviv hosts an annual LGBT film festival, known as TLVFest. Tel Aviv's LGBT community is the subject of Eitan Fox's 2006 film The Bubble. Tel Aviv has become an international center of fashion and design. It has been called the next hot destination for fashion. Israeli designers, such as swimwear company Gotex, show their collections at leading fashion shows, including New York's Bryant Park Fashion Show. In 2011, Tel Aviv hosted its first fashion week since the 1980s, with Italian designer Roberto Cavalli as a guest of honor. The three largest newspaper companies in Israel, Yedioth Ahronoth, Ma'ariv and Haaretz, are all based within the city limits. Several radio stations cover the Tel Aviv area, including the city-based Radio Tel Aviv. The two major Israeli television networks, Keshet Media Group and Rishay, are based in the city, as well as two of the most popular radio stations in Israel, Galitz and Galgalatz, which are both based in Jaffa. Studios of the international news channel I24 News is located at Jaffa Port Customs House. An English-language radio station, TLV1, is based at Kikar Haim Dina. Tel Aviv is famous for its wide variety of world-class restaurants, offering traditional Israeli dishes as well as international fare. More than 100 sushi restaurants, the third highest concentration in the world, do business in the city. In Tel Aviv there are some dessert specialties, the most known is the halva ice cream traditionally topped with date syrup and pistachios. The city has a number of football stadiums, the largest of which is Bloomfield Stadium, which contains 29,400 seats used by Hapoel Tel Aviv, Maccabi Tel Aviv and Bnei Yehuda. Another stadium in the city is the Hatikva Neighborhood Stadium. Menorah Miftashim Arena is a large multi-purpose sports indoor arena. The arena is home to the Maccabi Tel Aviv, and the Drive-In Arena, a multi-purpose hall that serves as the home ground of the Hapoel Tel Aviv. National Sports Center Tel Aviv, also Hadar Yosef Sports Center, is a compound of stadiums and sports facilities. It also houses the Olympic Committee of Israel and the National Athletic Stadium with the Israeli Athletic Association. The Maccabi Tel Aviv Sports Club was founded in 1906 and competes in more than 10 sport fields. Its basketball team, Maccabi Tel Aviv Basketball Club, is a world-known professional team that holds 56 Israeli titles, has won 45 editions of the Israel Cup, and has 6 European championships, and its football team Maccabi Tel Aviv Football Club has won 23 Israeli League titles and has won 24 state cups, 7 Toto Cups and 2 Asian Club championships. Yoel Arad, an athlete in Maccabi's judo club, won a silver medal in the 1992 Olympic Games. Hapoel Tel Aviv Sports Club, founded in 1923, comprises more than 11 sports clubs, including Hapoel Tel Aviv Football Club, 13 championships, 16 state cups, 1 Toto Cup and once Asian champions, which plays in Bloomfield Stadium, and Hapoel Tel Aviv Basketball Club. Bnei Yehuda Tel Aviv, once Israeli champion, twice State Cup winners and twice Toto Cup winner, is the Israeli football team that represents a neighborhood, the Hatikva quarter in Tel Aviv, and not a city. Beitar Tel Aviv Bat Yam formerly played in the top division, the club now playing in Liga Lumit and also represents the city Bat Yam. Maccabi Jaffa formerly played in the top division, the club now playing in Liga Aleph and represents the Jaffa. Shimshon Tel Aviv formerly played in the top division, the club now playing in Liga Aleph. There are more Tel Aviv football teams, Hapoel Kfar Shalem, FC Bnei Jaffa Orthodoxim, Beitar Ezra, Beitar Jaffa, Elitzer Jaffa Tel Aviv, FC Roi Heshbon Tel Aviv, Gadna Tel Aviv Yehuda, Hapoel Kiryat Shalom, Hapoel Nev Golan and Hapoel Ramat Yisrael. 2 rowing clubs operate in Tel Aviv. The Tel Aviv Rowing Club, established in 1935 on the banks of the Yarkon River, is the largest rowing club in Israel. Meanwhile, the beaches of Tel Aviv provide a vibrant matkot, beach paddleball, scene. Tel Aviv Lightning represent Tel Aviv in the Israel Baseball League. Tel Aviv also has an annual half marathon, run in 2008 by 10,000 athletes with runners coming from around the world. In 2009, the Tel Aviv Marathon was revived after a 15-year hiatus, and is run annually since, attracting a field of over 18,000 runners. Tel Aviv is a major transportation hub, served by a comprehensive public transport network, with many major routes of the national transportation network running through the city. As of 2023, 56% of the residents are going to work without using cars, and the plan is to expand it to 70% by the end of the decade. As with the rest of Israel, bus transport is the most common form of public transport and is very widely used. The Tel Aviv Central Bus Station is located in the southern part of the city. The main bus network in Tel Aviv metropolitan area operated by Dan Bus Company, Metroplane, and Kavim. The Egged Bus Cooperative, Israel's largest bus company, provides intercity transportation. The city is also served by local and intercity share taxis. Many local and intercity bus routes also have Shirut taxis that follow the same route and display the same route number in their window. Fares are standardized within the region and are comparable to or less expensive than bus fares. Unlike other forms of public transport, these taxis also operate on Fridays and Saturdays, the Jewish Sabbath, Shabbat. Private taxis are white with a yellow sign on top. Fares are standardized and metered, but may be negotiated ahead of time with the driver. The Tel Aviv Salvador Central Railway Station is the main railway station of the city, and the second busiest station in Israel. The city has 5 additional railway stations along the Ayalon Highway, 3 of them, Tel Aviv University, HaShalom, the busiest station in Israel, adjacent to Azrieli Center, and HaHagana, near the Tel Aviv Central Bus Station, serve Tel Aviv directly, while the remaining 2, Holon Junction and Holon Wolfson, are within Tel Aviv's municipal boundaries but serve the southern suburb of Holon. It is estimated that over 1 million passengers travel by rail to Tel Aviv monthly. The trains do not run on Saturday, and the principal Jewish festivals, Rosh Hashanah, 2 days, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchat Torah, Pesach, Passover, 1st and 5th days, and Shavuot, Pentecost. Jaffa Railway Station was the first railway station in the Middle East. It served as the terminus for the Jaffa, Jerusalem Railway. The station opened in 1891 and closed in 1948. In 2005 to 2009, the station was restored and converted into an entertainment and leisure venue marketed as Hatakana, Hebrew for the station. See homepage here. The Jaffa, Jerusalem Railway also included the Tel Aviv Beit Hadar Railway Station, which was opened in 1920 and replaced in 1970, and the Tel Aviv South Railway Station, which was opened in 1970 to replace Beit Hadar and itself closed in 1993. The Bnei Brak Railway Station, while located in Bnei Brak's municipal borders, is closer to the Tel Aviv neighborhood of Ramat HaHayil than to Bnei Brak city center, and was originally called Tel Aviv North. Tel Aviv Light Rail is a mass transit system for the Tel Aviv metropolitan area. As of 2023, 2 LRT lines are under construction. Work on the Red Line, the first in the project, started on September 21, 2011, following years of preparatory works, and was expected to be completed and opened in late 2022 after numerous delays, and was finally opened on August 18, 2023, after the opening day was postponed numerous times. Construction of the Purple Line started in December 2018, work on the Green Line began in 2021 and is scheduled for completion in 2028. Tel Aviv Metro is a proposed subway system for the Tel Aviv metropolitan area. It will augment the Tel Aviv Light Rail and Israel Railway suburban lines and 3 underground metro lines to form a rapid transit transportation solution for the city. Construction is expected to start in 2025, with the first public opening in 2032. The main highway leading to and within the city is the Ayalon Highway, Highway 20, which runs in the eastern side of the city from north to south along the Ayalon River riverbed. Driving south on Ayalon gives access to Highway 4 leading to Ashdod, Highway 1 leading to Ben Gurion International Airport and Jerusalem, and Highway 431 leading to Jerusalem, Modi'in, Rehovot, and the Highway 6 Trans-Israel Highway. Driving north on Ayalon gives access to the Highway 2 coastal road leading to Netanya, Hadera, and Haifa. Within the city, main routes include Kaplan Street, Allenby Street, IBN Gabaral Street, Dizengoff Street, Rothschild Boulevard, and in Jaffa the main route is Jerusalem Boulevard. Namir Road connects the city to Highway 2, Israel's main north-south highway, and Begin Jabotinsky Road, which provides access from the east through Ramat Gan, Bnei Brak, and Petah Tikva. Tel Aviv, accommodating about 500,000 commuter cars daily, suffers from increasing congestion. In 2007, the Sadan report recommended the introduction of a congestion charge similar to that of London in Tel Aviv as well as other Israeli cities. Under this plan, road users traveling into the city would pay a fixed fee. The main airport serving Greater Tel Aviv is Ben Gurion International Airport. Located in the neighboring city of Lod, it handled over 20 million passengers in 2017. Ben Gurion is the main hub of El Al, Arkia, Israel Airlines and Sundur. The airport is 15 kilometers, 9.3 miles, 8.1 nmi, southeast of Tel Aviv, on Highway 1 between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. SDE Dov Airport, IATA, SDV, in northwestern Tel Aviv, is a domestic airport and was closed in 2019 in favor of real estate development. All services to SDE Dov will be transferred to Ben Gurion Airport. The Tel Aviv municipality encourages the use of bicycles in the city. Plans called for expansion of the paths to 100 kilometers, 62.1 miles, by 2009. By 2020, the city had 140 kilometers of bicycle paths with plans to reach 300 kilometers by 2025. The city is at the center of the Ofnatan, a network of bicycle paths throughout the Gush Dan metropolitan area. In April 2011, the Tel Aviv municipality launched Telofun, a bicycle sharing system, in which 150 stations of bicycles for rent were installed within the city limits. West and East Jerusalem combined have 901,000 residents, more than twice as many as Tel Aviv-Yafo with 444,000. West Jerusalem alone has a population of 348,000. Jerusalem is Israel's capital according to the Jerusalem law passed in 1980. The presidential residence, government offices, Supreme Court and Parliament, Knesset, are located there. The Palestinian Authority foresees East Jerusalem as the capital of its future state. The UN does not recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, taking the position that the final status of Jerusalem is pending future negotiations between Israel and the Palestinian authorities. Countries maintain their embassies in Tel Aviv and its suburbs, or suburbs of Jerusalem, such as Mevaseret Zion. Czech Republic, Guatemala, Honduras, Taiwan, the United States, and Vanuatu recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Kindly subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends and families. See you in the next one.